Oh, I wasn't there. This was a couple of years before I came along. My mom and dad had just been married, and they ordered a Model T. And my dad was down in East Liverpool, and the guy called up and said, "Hey, your car's ready." The dealer was on 2nd Avenue in Detroit, just below the boulevard, which is in those, well, this was 1922 or 3. It was still pretty busy. So my mom went down on the bus, and the guy showed her the car, and here's how you shift, and here's how you steer it. This is the horn, and okay, my bus is coming. You can take it home now. That was her lesson in driving, and it was 5 o'clock, rush hour, 2nd Avenue in Detroit, and darned if she didn't get that car home. And she taught my dad how to drive. And I thought this was typical of my mom. She made a good story out of it and laughed a lot, but she was probably panic-stricken. And I knew I was going to be an engineer from age 5 or 6. There was just no question. My dad was an engineer. I'm going to be an engineer. And he did some work around the house, adding receptacles in the wall and stuff like that, and I'd help him. And back then you had armored cable in a home, and you had getting that armor off was a hard work, and for a 6-year-old kid, it was really hard work. But I could whittle it off with a hacksaw. I'd get it off, and I'd help my dad, and so I could see that engineering had something to do with stuff. No, my dad worked straight through, except in the summer of 1932, the company gave him a month off with pay and another month off without pay. And that's the only time the Depression got us. You could get 3 dips of ice cream for a nickel. The Depression wasn't all that bad for me. And my mom was kind enough she let me scrub the kitchen floor and then wax it for a quarter. And I was rich. She knew what made me tick, and she could buy me. And my dad and I had an agreement. I would get 10 cents an inch for snow, for shoveling the walks and the driveway, and that worked out. Here I am. Come on, let's have 6 inches of snow, and it never it didn't happen that often. I loved to play basketball, and he paved most of the backyard, and I was in charge of the paving, so it wouldn't get, we could play in the rain and the snow. And
you engineered it.
Oh yes, I did it all. In fact, I think I even paid for the concrete. It was $4 a yard. We got 4 yards of it, $16. Yeah, I was 15, and my brother was 12. And I said, Jim, go in and call the concrete people and have them send out 4 yards. So he went in, called on the phone, came back mad as the dickens. She called me ma'am. His voice hadn't changed. He was a little disturbed by that. The senior year, I was on the varsity then, and some graduated in January, and Danny Arnold was a starter on the varsity until he graduated. He only played 2 games that year and graduated, and he was gone, and so I got to start then from then on, and we went on and we won the city championship, and.
That's a fun memory.
I have the clipping. And they sent 6 or 8 of us were in the same company there in Ann Arbor, and they said, well, you're not going. I thought I'd stay in Ann Arbor because they had a big NROTC, but no, they sent 6 or 8 of us to Marquette University in Milwaukee. And I was still on the swim team at Michigan, and I told the coach, hey, they're sending me out. And they don't even have a pool at Marquette. He was all shook up. I wasn't that good in swimming. We had, national champions on that team. I was pretty well down on the list. It turns out that Milwaukee had probably the neatest USO you've ever seen in your life. And immediately we went headed for the Marquette is a downtown Milwaukee. There's streetcars and buses and traffic and everything. And there were parties going on all the time, and so Don Raymer went with me there. One of my friends, and Al Riordan was another. So we went out there, and nice party with girls, and which were fairly important and that sort of thing. And I didn't meet her the first week, but I did the second week, and Tish was one of the people I met, and that just worked out really well.